how well trained you think you are. Quite often you are not. It was a non-scout activity, but 15 of us hiked rim to rim on the Grand Canyon. 2 of them were emergency room doctors. Out of the 15 of us, 13 of us made the 5-day trip with no blisters. You want to guess who the 2 were that had blisters by the second day? Doctors. That's right.
That's because they're so tender.
Right.
No, they just knew better than to have to listen to the 2 socks rule, and if your feet start getting warm, put some athletic tape on and that sort of stuff. They didn't need to do that.
Yeah.
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 We had a troop on Isle Royale, and the moose there can be rather huge. I don't know. But the scouts had gone off to an A-frame because it was not being used. They wanted to do a little solo, and another leader decided to do the same thing. So the second leader stayed in camp and got woken up by a moose in the middle of camp, and about 12 feet away. And there's no training. What do you do with the moose that's looking at you? And the mom and the baby are on the other side of the bull moose. He's watching out for him. Back then there used to be wolves on the island. But I never read anything that prepared me for something like that.
Yeah, they're like.
It's like a Clydesdale with horns.
Horns.
You know.
I don't know, do they scare as well as deer, or do shoot them off, or?
I was afraid of making a noise. There was only a little 4-inch tree between me and him. So did you make more noise and let him know you were there? I'm sure he knew I was there, but yeah, I had read up on going to the island, and there was nothing in any pamphlet that said what to do.
Yeah, I haven't read, I don't know, has anyone else read anything about moose as far as?
He kept coming closer to me. I wasn't approaching him. He liked these specific plants. He was going along, get closer and closer, and then when mom and baby went off into the woods, he kept getting closer for about 3 minutes, and he turned around and followed them. Nothing ever happened, but you see the videos and you worry,
Yeah, they
I'm
never
just a
tell you what
rag
to
doll
do.
compared to him.
At the 2013 Jamboree Summit Center, awesome time, and hope you guys consider going back for next year. But wasn't us. They pack all the troops in very close to each other because there's 50,000 scouts going. So they have layouts of all of the camps, and they have a layout that you have to do that follows where they put tents, and then your dining flies, and then more tents. And we all set up, and it's a relatively flat area, but you're up in the top of mountains basically is where you're at, because it was an old strip mine that they reclaimed. Thing that I didn't realize is that up there, these little clouds and stuff turn into a storm extremely quickly, dump a whole bunch of rain, dump a huge amount of wind gusts and everything, and then it's gone. And it's usually pretty good because it's really hot and you're humid, and all the kids love it, but we're just being prepared. What we didn't realize was a troop from Utah that hasn't gone camping and having a lot of heavy storms and things that we're used to around here, and high winds. They didn't tie down their canopies like we did with tie downs. And these were 1.5-inch steel square framed canopies. And we looked over, and they're only from here to about the wall, and we see the 2 canopies just go up and start spinning in the air and land right into our troop tent canopy where all of us were. We had just 2 minor little injuries out of it, thankfully, when the legs came through the canopy. But I think the key to it, other than people being aware of what's going on around us, is that as soon as it was over, everybody was calm. The scouts all started just making sure everybody was okay. They went and helped the other troop get set back up again with their, took their stuff over, set them up, taught them how to do a tie down properly on their stuff, and moved on. And those two troops or units, from that point on, were the best of buddies. They really bonded, through that experience. And I'm just happy that, just everybody, like you said, even though it was a traumatic experience, everybody remained calm. They remembered what they could do and where you could go for help, and make sure that, people are aware.
I know, again, how quickly things happen. We were hiking in Montana this fall, or last August or whatever, and in the Beartooth Mountains, and it was just a normal day. We were hiking along the ridge, and everyone's got their hiking sticks, and the one kid was hiking, and when he put his stick down, right on the edge, the rock gave way. So, you're kind of depending on that, so as soon as he lost his balance, and you got a pack on, and he slid down. Thankfully, he didn't slide down the whole embankment, because that would have been, several hundred feet. He fell down far enough, but it was still probably 10 or 15 feet that he slid down. But again, we're just hiking along, everyone, he was in the middle of the pack, so it's not like he was the first one that did that. And it just how a normal day can turn into an emergency of some type. So the preparation, first aid kits, having your crews together, aware of where you are, little stuff like that. How many are going on high adventures this year, troops? Where are you guys going? Just two of you? Where are you going?
Porcupine.
Porcupines? Do the other guy, our troop goes every other year, so next year we're going to Philmont. Last year we went to Montana. Do you guys do high adventures, or every other year, every 5 years, you just don't go?
We try to squeeze something in, even if it's a short one, every year.
Okay.
Let's do a big 2-week trek or something like that. We'll, it's more a reward for the older scouts. So we try to get something in there for them.
I mean, even the Boundary Waters trip we did last year, it was it was over Labor Day weekend, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It was a 4-day, we did 2 lakes, or 2 portages, and we stayed at the same spot for 4 days. It doesn't have to be, a 100-mile trek through Philmont, or a 100-mile canoe trip through the Boundary Waters. I got a guy that I work with that, he's up in Green Bay, but his pastor at their troop's been to the Boundary Waters 40 times. He wants to take their troop there and do a 100-mile canoe trip in 2 weeks. Why do you, the kids have never done anything like that. Why don't you break them in? Yes, you've been there 30 times, 100 miles to you may be nothing, but to the kids, it's a Mormon troop, so they're, it's a small 6 or 7, whatever the troops are like that. They're all the same age. Maybe take them on a 1 week, do 2 or 3 lakes, and do day trips, or even when you go to Philmont, if you go and do 5 miles a day or 6 miles a day and enjoy the beauty, instead of 10 hours of hiking and looking at the ground, instead of enjoying what you spent $2,000 to go there to go see. The high adventures don't have to be long vacations or long trips, or a 4-day ride up to the Boundary Waters. It was $78 for, we had our own canoes, but we did our own food. You buy your permit, and you got your 2 sites, and we were right on the Canadian border. It was Labor Day, there were no bugs. The weather was great, it was sunny, a little windy the day we paddled out, but for a high adventure trip, it would have been a nice thing. We take our crew, this year they're going to Rock Island again. The older guys, they drive up, they get to take the car ferry. I think they hike the 4 miles or whatever it is from one ferry to the other ferry out to Rock Island, and then they stay there for 3 days, doing their backpack, or just kind of exploring the island out of their tent. Again, it's a 4-day event. It's not a whole week, but to them, it's something they've never done, someplace they've never been. So to them, it's a high adventure, and it doesn't cost that much.